Bible in a minute, Genesis 38. And if there's ever a chapter in the Bible that resembles a Jerry Springer episode, it's Genesis 38. Why do I say that? Well, because here we've just started the story arc of Joseph, and it started in chapter 37. It will continue in chapters 39 and following. But here we have this like a side story, and it's about Judah, one of Jacob's sons. And we understand that Judah was the one that first said, hey, let's kill Joseph. Well, Judah's a grown man, right? And so he leaves his brothers for a while, and he goes off and he sees a daughter, a Canaanite woman, and he takes her and sleeps with her. She conceives, she has a son, she conceives again, has another son, she conceives again and has another son. So 3 sons were given to him by this woman. Well, when it's time, when the firstborn is old enough, a young man named the firstborn son of Judah, he gives her in marriage to a woman named Tamar. Well, we don't know what does that displeases the Lord, but something that he does displeases the Lord, and God kills him. And so in verse 7, chapter 38, verse 7, what he did was evil from Adonai's perspective, from God's perspective, and so God killed him. But he left Tamar childless. He had not conceived a child with her. So in that culture, the second son sleeps with his sister-in-law. This is freaky. I told you, Jerry Springer. He is expected to go produce an heir for his elder brother who died. So he's not expected to marry Tamar, but he is expected to lay with her, produce an heir in his son's name, and then he can marry and produce an heir in his own name. And his name, this second brother, is Onan. And Onan is willing to do the deed, but not willing to impregnate her. She's gonna have to read the chapter, but it's not in your kid's Bible, that's for sure. This is a very graphic chapter of the Bible. So that displeases the Lord, because he was willing to enjoy the pleasure, but not willing to do his responsibility. And so God kills Onan. So now 2 of Judah's sons have been killed by God. The third son, Shelah, is not of age yet. And so Tamar says, hey, promise me that when Shelah becomes old enough, you will give him in marriage. And Judah says, yes, of course. I mean, that's the way, that's the tradition. I'll do it. Well, Shelah becomes of age, and Judah never gives him to Tamar. So Tamar decides to take off her widow's clothes and dress like a harlot, and that's the PC maybe term for it. And so she essentially deceives her father-in-law Judah into thinking that she is a harlot, and so we can only assume he is no longer married at this point. Maybe we assume he is married. We don't know. But he ends up sleeping with his daughter-in-law, Tamar, and then she becomes pregnant from this union, pregnant with twins. Well, when it's discovered that Tamar is pregnant, she's been wearing her widow's clothes, and neither one of Judah's sons had impregnated her, and she had not been given in marriage to Shelah. So she is brought out and said, your daughter has been acting like a harlot. Again, the scripture gives other words, but I'm trying to be as polite as possible here. She's pregnant as a result of this. And so Judah says, bring her out that she may be burned alive. Bold move there, Judah. Seeing as how you have raised 2 sons that were wicked in the sight of God, you made a vow that you didn't fulfill, and then you slept with a woman that wasn't your wife, and she got pregnant, and now you're saying burn her alive. But Judah doesn't know that it was Tamar, because she had veiled herself when they were together. And so they bring Tamar out, and she says, I'm pregnant by the man who owns these things. And she had received his staff and his cord, and some basically personal effects that would prove that Judah was the one who had slept with her. And his response is, she is more righteous than I, because I vowed to give her Shelah, and I never did. I broke my vow to her. She's more righteous than I. And so what we discover is, if you continue through the genealogies, and nobody really likes reading genealogies, But if you read them, you discover that one of these twins, one of the children born of Judah and Tamar, becomes an ancestor of Jesus Christ himself. And so Jesus can relate to the scandalous past that maybe we have. Maybe we were conceived in sin. Maybe our parents were not married. Maybe there was some incredibly crazy situation that brought us or one of our ancestors into being. Scandal doesn't eliminate you from being used by God. God can still use you because Jesus himself comes from this scandalous relationship found in Genesis 38. Have a good one.